Hello everyone, today I will be showing you how I made these little bloomers. I did make the knit version, but you could definitely do this in woven as well. This is the Baby Bloomsbury pattern by Little Lizard King. I love this pattern. It comes with so many different options. It comes with a top, a peplum, bummies, bloomers, everything. So be sure to grab that. I'll put a link for it in the description. And let's get started. Okay, so as always, here are our pattern pieces. We have the ruffle waist bloomers, the front and the back. On both of these, you're just going to cut on the fold. And then what I like to do for this pattern is write some notes for the elastic and the leg bands. For the elastic and the leg bands, you will find the measurements in the pattern. So just scroll through, and it's usually by the cut chart is where you'll find this information. So I just write it there. So for this pattern, I have my two pieces cut out. We have the back piece, yada yada, cut on the fold, the front piece, my hair is always everywhere, sorry about that. Here is the elastic. I did cut it about 1.5 inches shorter just because my girl, she's 2 years old, but she is really small, so I really want to get the right look for these. You can follow the pattern, I'm sure it'll work. It's just I have a skinny mini. Okay, and then here are my leg bands. For this size, they call for 3 inches and 11.25 inches. So there's that. So first thing we're gonna do, I am using waffle, so sometimes it's a little hard to differentiate which side is the right side. But I like the side with the big loops to be my front, so I'm going to use that. But whatever fabric you're using, right sides together. I do think you can even use woven for this pattern, which is cool, but today I'm using this nice waffle knit. Okay, so we have our pattern pieces right sides together, and you're going to do 3 seams. One here, and at the crotch. So once you've done that, with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, I am going to use my serger for this, but if you're using a sewing machine, you could use a zigzag stitch. You could even use the lightning bolt stitch. Any any stretch stitch will work for this. So again, here, here, and here, I'll show you that. My biggest tip for the serger and this waffle knit, if you are using waffle knit, is to increase your differential feed. So for most fabrics, I keep it around the 1, or like around here, like 1 point, whatever that would be. But for this, we're going to go up to closer to 2, just because it is thinner, but whatever fabric you're using, you should be good to go with your normal settings if you are using one that you always work with. But that's just my quick little tip for this waffle knit. And another tip, these little tick marks here are actually your seam allowance. So if you're using a serger, the second tick mark is your 1/2 inch seam allowance. So that's approximately where I'm trying to aim my fabric and line it up there. So okay, here is that step done. Next, we're going to add our little leg bands. For these, I just like folding them in half this way. And I'm just going to serge right here, serge or sew, whichever one you want to pick. Again, I just grab them, put them right sides together. Wait, which is the right side? Okay, this side. And sew a straight line right there. Now here is what that looks like, and you'll notice that they are kind of wide. So what you want to do is fold them in half like this and create a little tube. And that is our leg band. So next I'm going to line it up with my crotch seam like this, and just put a clip. If you're a beginner, I really recommend these clips. They're called Wonder Clips. I got like 100 off of Amazon for pretty cheap. And then next you'll just want to line it up. So you'll notice that the leg band is smaller usually than the leg opening. You can see that it is smaller, and that's actually a good thing. That's what bands are meant to be. They are meant to be smaller. So my biggest tip is to stretch it. Grab your clip and stretch it to the other side and clip it there as well. And if you're a super beginner, you've never done cuffs before, I would even line these 2 clips up and add 2 other clips. So stretch it on the other side here. Clip that. Again, put your clips together, stretch it to the other side because it is smaller. And then add a clip there. And you should be able to sew all around. I will be showing this on the Serger. Sorry if you have a sewing machine. I know my videos are focused on the Serger, but I do sell these, so I want a more professional look. But everything is very doable on the sewing machine and can look just as nice. But I will show you how I do these on the Serger now. Okay, so it's going to be a little tricky since I only have one hand. But what I like to do is put my presser foot up. Wow, you can see my soda addiction in the back there. Okay, anyways. And we're going to start at the crotch seam. So you just line up, place your, what you're going to sew right up there. This is a half seam allowance again. And you should be about there. You know, we're going to sew towards the crotch seam, but it's okay if you start a little towards the back. So now what you want to do is line everything up. And just start and make sure you're going with your 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay, once you get to the clip, what I do for this to make sure that it lines up, it doesn't always line up 100%, like I don't know what's up with these cuffs, but what I like to do is just line it up, make sure that the bottom line is lining up with the crotch, and then I literally just press it down as hard as I can and keep going. And then I make sure once I'm over that to just line everything up and keep going. So I will be going all around and then showing you how I stop and over. Okay, sorry the lighting changed right at the most important step. But what I'm going to do now is that I'm almost at the start. You can see that there's like this little angle of where I started. What you want to do is see where it starts going back straight, so around here. I'm going to keep going until I hit that spot. So basically until I cut everything off again. Just right there. And then I'm going to turn my hand wheel just to guide the knife down and turn off my knife. So just push the lever back. And then I'm going to overlap about an inch. Then I put my hand wheel, this is the hand wheel, towards me to put my needles down again. And I put my lever up, so the presser foot up. Push everything towards the back like this. Put the lever back down, the presser foot back down, and then just serge off. And I'll show you how I finish off my tails in a bit. Again, sorry for the lighting change. I'm using my phone and it doesn't want to use the flash anymore. But okay, you have your tail. What I like to do is make it so that it's about a 1/2 inch long. Just like that. Sorry, I'm trying to get this autofocus on. Okay. And then I just pull it so that these 2 long threads get exposed. Those are the loopers. I take one in each hand and I pull. And then you can leave it like that, but I like to just do an extra knot just in case, because that did form a little knot. You could even do 2. I don't know. I've never really had an issue with things unraveling, but you never know. So there you go. Okay, so there's that. And now we have the serger parts all done if you are using a serger. Next we're going to use our sewing machine. For the sewing machine, what we're going to do is basically create a little channel for our elastic. Whoa, sorry. What we're gonna use for this step is clips. Let me make sure I have enough. Okay, I lied. I'm going to use my serger just to finish off the edge right here. The steps in the pattern tell you to like fold it and do some other stuff to finish off the edge, but I'm just gonna use my serger. If you want to do it this way with your sewing machine, I would just do a zigzag all the way right at the edge. Okay, so now to create the channel that I was mentioning earlier, what we're going to need to do is just fold our fabric over about 1.5 inches, I believe the pattern calls for. I honestly think this is personal preference, so if you want to do a little more, a little less, you can, but I'll just go ahead and follow the pattern instructions. So what we're going to do is fold it about 1.5 inches. I do have my mat here, so it's going to be a little helpful for this. So here's 1.5 inches around here. I'm going to try and line it up best as I can. So like this, and then we're just going to put a clip in the front. Fold it and put a clip in the back. And do the same for the sides. So you just want to create basically the same size, almost like a waistband going all the way around. But it's pretty important to keep it the same height all around. But if you know it's a little off, it's okay. I always tell myself it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, there we go. So now the next thing we want to do, or that I like to do, is to make a line about 1/2 inch above the edge of our fabric. So we're essentially going to create 2 lines, one above and one beneath this elastic, so that we can stick it through. So for the first line, I like to go, like I said, about 1/2 inch above the edge, and I'm going to go all the way around with a zigzag stitch on my sewing machine. So let me do that. Okay, so I should have tested out my zigzag stitch prior to doing it, because it is a little off tension. You can tell because this zigzag in the front looks good, but then in the back it's a little off. So just want to put that disclaimer out there. It'll still work, but if I were to sell this, or I wouldn't sell this, I would test my tension first. Anyways, so I did my first row of stitches all the way around. Next we're going to do another row right on top of the edge right here, and this time we're going to leave about a 2 inch gap or 1 inch gap, just so that we can put our elastic through. So do the exact same step, go all the way around, but leave a 1 inch gap at least. Okay, so there's my second row of stitches. Oops, I need to cut this off. But there's my second row of stitches, and I did leave a 1 inch gap, like I said. So next we're going to take a safety pin and just guide the elastic through the channel that we created. Again, I lost it. But I'm just going to put the elastic through the channel and just go all the way around, making sure that I don't lose it on the other end. I like to put the clip at the end right there, so I'm just going to shimmy my way all the way around. As I'm doing this, I remember that I think the pattern calls for 3/4 inch elastic. This is only 1/4 inch. It still works, but because of that, the pattern probably tells you that you need a bigger channel than this. This is a pretty small channel, meaning it's only about 1 inch tall. So whatever elastic you're using, just make sure that you accommodate the size for it. Okay, I made it all the way around, and now all I'm going to do is sew over the elastic together. I like to just overlap them, obviously without the clip and without this safety pin. I just like to overlap them about 1/2 inch and just zigzag over this. And we're almost done. The last step is to just kind of guide the elastic through and then sew the channel closed. So I just like to kind of stretch it out a bit so that I can get this spot flattened. Now I'm just going to sew the channel closed, and that'll be the last step. Then to finish it up, I just like to stretch out the elastic so that it spreads out evenly throughout everything, kind of just like this. Just as far as it can go, pretty much, so that when it comes back together, it looks like that. So there we go. I have so many loose threads everywhere, but that's pretty much it for these little bloomers. If there's anything I missed or any steps you need more help on, be sure to let me know. That's pretty much it though. It's pretty simple once you get the hang of it, and I'll try and get a picture of what these look like on my daughter. We'll see if she cooperates, but hope everyone has a good day.